Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are, whoever you are. Welcome once again to Nerd Week Live, brought to you by us, the folks at Nerd Caliber, the show that looks back at nerd news that popped during the previous week and discusses it in detail or really quickly tonight because there's so much of it. I'm Rodney Brown.
It really rolls the tongue.
It does. I'm Rodney Brown, the editor-in-chief of... there we go. Sorry about that. Hiding a message on YouTube. I'm Rodney Brown, the editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber, a first-person shooter on Facebook, Burley_adopter on the Twitters. Joining me tonight is R is, let's see, we're going to start with the multicolored background man. Lewis, if you would.
Well, once again, I'm here. I'm always happy to be on the show. It's a lot of fun, a lot of great discussions. We're looking forward to having some engagement in that chat. So if you guys feel the need to chime in, have an opinion or a thought you want to share with us in that chat, go right ahead. It's a live chat. We're monitoring it as you guys talk. So, and that being said, keep the nasty stuff to a minimum, please. Anyways, my name's Louis Correa, also known as Crash the Photos. I do a little bit of streaming on the side now as Crash the Stampede. If you guys want to pop in, check out a stream, or even play with me, shoot me a message. We'll see what's up. We can play a game. I'm also a co-producer with Nerd Caliber. I do some article writing on the side, and it's a fantastic job. I love these guys.
It's not just a job; it's an adventure. Greg, if you would.
Hi everybody, Greg Snyder, aka Wonder Llama Photography and or cosplay, mostly photography these days. Absolutely chime in on the chats. That's what makes it interesting. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about, so I'm just gonna kick it over to Byron.
Hello, my name is Byron McNeil, aka ByronD0. I am a contributing writer. I do video production on occasion and a bunch of other stuff. I like to do art on occasion as well. You can check out my stuff on Instagram under BD0Art, all one word.
Awesome, very cool. Before we get into this enormous roster of news, we'll say hello to some people in the chats. Clobet Blue 890, welcome to the show. Honeybees, welcome to the show. Yo Kylie, welcome to the show. The French Guy, welcome to the show. And I think that's it here. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody because there's a lot of chats in there already. All right, cool. And again, as everybody said, feel free to ask questions in the chat. We'll try to get to them, even with this very busy roster. And the first piece of news on that roster is those are characters from the BioWare game Anthem. And the news is, as pretty much everybody expected, NRG Chrome, welcome to the show, and you probably want to get that taken care of. As everybody pretty much figured out, Anthem, which was kind of dead on arrival anyway, has been killed by BioWare from any future development. BioWare was planning on making... And mind you, this is a game that just came out a couple of years ago, was making a sort of remaster version to try to fix all of the mistakes in it. That was going to be called Anthem Next, and Anthem will not have a next. Done. Are we happy with this? Did anybody play it?
Any of you guys play it?
I played a little bit of it, actually, and it wasn't that bad in terms of like the mechanics. The mechanics worked really well, the flying, the combat system, but like I could have written a better plot with crayons on a wall somewhere. Like it was just garbage. There was no real end game for it that worked fundamentally well. Like it was like a bunch of ideas to like showcase what service. There's a term for games as a service. I think that's the terminology now.
Or live service is what the industry just sort of generally calls them, but yeah.
So like it was supposed to showcase that kind of direction that a lot of game companies are going in, and it basically fell flat on its ass. Yeah. I was looking forward a little bit to the Anthem Next thing, just kind of because I always like to give things a second chance. I'm that kind of guy. I try to be empathetic about everything, but there was no surprise that a big company that can afford to cut its losses where good.
Yep. Yeah, it's sad for the people who did love it. That Gears guy streamed it for quite a while on his Twitch, but you know, it made huge promises, and then when it finally released, it was at best 50% of those promises.
Kind of like another game,
Such as
Marvel's Avengers.
yeah,
I mean,
which is also a live service, game as a service.
Yep.
But that is still going, and they're still planning DLC and
For now.
yeah. Well, on the strength of Kamala Khan of Miss Marvel, the Miss Marvel DLC, that game's still running.
They just came out with the Hawkeye one too.
Yes. Yep. Very cool. Marvel's got so many characters and plot lines and so on that it can mine for this thing that, unlike Anthem, which was a completely new intellectual property. Yo Kylie, nope, I never played it. Nagato, ooh, welcome to the show. Spider-Man, probably not, because Spider-Man games as well as movies and so on is still in the hands of Sony.
My biggest takeaway from all of this is just I don't think anyone's honestly surprised by this, and I never liked this concept of games as a service to begin with, because it felt disingenuous, because it's just like, why continue to make games that that require work and effort when we can just give you one game and nickel and dime you for everything.
Yeah, that's a deeper discussion. So we'll table that, but that's a good point. Yo, Kylie, what about Animal Crossing? Haven't heard anything about it. Still going strong as far as I know. So if you're a fan, keep enjoying it. Moving on to our next topic. That is two characters from the Fairly Odd Parents. Not the Fairly Odd Parents, of course. But the news is that Nickelodeon is going to be making live action series reboots, remakes, whatever, on the Paramount Plus streaming network of Fairly Odd Parents and Dora the Explorer. And that invites that very question. Why? Money, obviously, because they think they can make money off of it. But I gotta say, I'm not really sure. If you're really doing the Fairly Odd Parents, your CG budget is going to be in the millions per season.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where like Nickelodeon did the whole SpongeBob live action thing with the voice actors, and that kind of like went okay-ish to my understanding. So maybe they're just thinking like, well, we could probably do this with Fairly Odd Parents and Dora the Explorer. Like Dora the Explorer, you can kind of get away with. Okay, there's someone did it. Well, someone did like a fake Dora the Explorer movie that looked.
Oh, they did the real Dora the Explorer movie.
Right. I was getting there.
Yeah.
So, they had the fake one which looked really good, and it was like more akin to the cartoon, and then you had the real one which not so much, but whatever. It's that you can get away with, kind of. But really, Fairly Odd Parents, like, I don't see that going like a season, maybe. Like the budget, as you said, is going to cost a fortune, unless they're just going to like fake it the whole time.
Or it's going to be garbage. Yeah, they're just going to stuff happens off screen. Oh my god.
Not to go sidetrack too far, but
yeah, not
all of the conversation at this point is, oh great, Paramount Plus, just what I don't need to get another subscription to. You're super late to the table, and I don't know if this is their attempt to have, to cash in on that 90s nostalgia, early 2000s nostalgia. Tough to say. I won't be subscribing to Paramount Plus on the strength of either of those titles.
Well, remember, before you get into it, remember Paramount Plus is CBS All Access after the settlement of all the lawsuits with Viacom, its parent. So it is, if you've already subscribing to CBS All Access, all you got to do is pick which of the two plans Paramount Plus will be putting out.
Yeah, that was one of the points.
I don't, and I won't.
That was one of the points I was going to make. The other one is this seems to be like the trend that at least the Nickelodeon section of this project is going to be going for. I know they're also doing it with the show iCarly, which makes a lot more sense. So I don't know. I feel like they're just kind of throwing darts at a target blindly and seeing which ones stick.
Yeah, I bet that's more than that. I bet there's market research and all that stuff going on behind the scenes here. But if this is going to be a draw to get people to subscribe to Paramount Plus, Greg has pretty much said what I think an awful lot of people are going to say, which is meh. So anyway, Mr. Krakowian, welcome back to the show. You are in need of a lot of distractions. Been drinking way too much at night. Pandemic's still with us, man. Nobody's going to fault you for that. But
I don't know who would be drinking anything right now.
Well, some of us are, drinking coffee because it's damn cold here in Massachusetts.
Yeah, some of us are drinking alcohol to gain the illusion of heat.
There you go. Anyway, moving on to our next topic. So, Studio Ghibli made, not Studio Ghibli, another company made a big announcement about Studio Ghibli. Spirited Away is going to be getting a stage play adaptation in 2022, which is being written and directed by a Tony and Olivier Award winner, John Caird, Les Mis, Nicholas Nickleby, and Daddy Longlegs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, Studio Ghibli and John Caird, I don't do stage plays for the most part, but I recognize an amazing confluence of talent when I see it.
Yeah. So really funny thing and real important funny crash fact. I literally just watched that movie like not even a week ago. I've never seen any Ghibli thing till like
Welcome to the club.
a week. Yeah. So I'm just like, if there's a stage show and it's like maybe going to be in Boston or something like that, I'll go. Obviously pandemic, vaccine, yada yada yada. I'll go see it. I'm down. That movie was pretty pretty good.
Well, Imperial Theater in Tokyo, and then it'll go on the road: Osaka, Fukuoka, Sapporo, Nagoya. No word about it coming to the States.
So I mean, if the Sailor Moon thing can come to the States, then that can come to the States.
Good point.
So hopefully, while I'm in Japan sometime in April, May, June, or July next year, I'll be able to do the show live. Although it'd be 3 in the morning, no, not 3 in the morning, very early in the morning.
Cool.
Who sleeps?
I'm excited about this. Lewis, welcome to the club. Spirited Away is one of my favorite movies of all time. Actually, I have an entire calf tattoo of a specific thing from the movie. I'm excited to see what they do. It would be great in sort of the COVID universe if they filmed it or live broadcast it, a la when Disney did Hamilton this year. Because frankly, an awful lot of us are not going to be able to go. I'm kidding. I'm not likely to be going to Japan just to see this show. It would be fantastic if they would live stream it or film it or something, so we can enjoy it on this side of the pond. But it's a fascinating concept. I mean, the whole thing, there's so much mythology and so much phantasmagorical characters and creatures. I like when I read this, I'm thinking like, how in the world would you do a stage adaptation of The Lion King? And then The Lion King on stage was one of the biggest, most incredible stage productions ever. This could be a similar approach.
I definitely am here for it. As a lifelong Japanophile, I'm definitely here for it in that sense. And like, there's so much of Japan's mythological history in this film that I could see them like putting as much culture into it as possible. I'm just imagining like the depiction of Haku as in a la The Lion King.
Yep. So it looks really interesting. I really think it's going to come to the United States, but there's no announcement about that in here. It's just that it's touring. You know, after it's in Tokyo, it's going to be touring Japan. Luminous, welcome to the show. And Luminous says, "Let's go to Japan." We would never be able to get you out of the who is good Toei studios or museums or whatever there happens to be there. I'm sure. So, not that that's a bad thing. I mean, I'm sure that
a road trip.
Exactly. Many of us would be right there with you.
That you'd have to check out as well.
Yep.
And Toho.
Donate to the Patreon and make it happen.
Exactly. And then Luminous also says, I recommend Laputa, Castle in the Sky. That is one of the very few Ghibli films I have not seen.
It's good.
I want to see Howl's Moving Castle to get that treatment.
Howl's is amazing.
Yep. Yeah. So big Ghibli fans around here, and a new one. Yay. One of us. Moving on to, so now I'm going to blast through a bunch of things that are just news, folks. So this would be the time. Team members, this would be the time to get your drink on and relax. People out there, feel free to comment on these news bits. We'll jump back to them if it's a comment that needs to be pointed out or a question. But a lot of this came from the TCA, which is sort of like the streamers and TV broadcasters industry event. And most of this is from the Disney Plus version of that. So first off, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, they have cast Indira Varma to play in the series. Nothing in here is particularly about who the character is, but Indira Varma is from Game of Thrones, Illyria Sand. And also Rome, which is one of my favorite series ever made, and Human Target, one of my other favorite series. Let's see. Skip over a bunch of this stuff. Kevin Feige, during the TCA, confirmed that Deadpool would, in fact, be R-rated again. He had said that before, but he really, hammered it home. And that it will, in some fashion, tie into the MCU. Feige also said that at least some of, and he particularly mentioned Jessica Jones, the Netflix MCU TV series IPs might make it back to TV. Pretty nebulous, not exactly a confirmation about anything, but he did call out Jessica Jones by name. So yeah, big fingers crossed on that. They did not announce that there would be a season 2 of WandaVision. They did announce that that Wanda Maximoff, the character, would next be seen in Doctor Strange 2, which we kind of knew already, but also that they have not made any plans yet for a season 2 of WandaVision. It's kind of ominous sounding, but again, if you've been watching the show, no spoilers, but it's maybe not looking for the happiest ending. Maybe not. Star Wars The Bad Batch and Loki, they announced actual premiere dates for both of them. Loki will be June 11th. Bad Batch, May 4th. That's the animated version of the clone troopers that kind of didn't exactly clone perfectly well. And it's a neat concept, and it looks like a great show. Loki, of course, looks fantastic. Mindless speculation out here. One of the things that just recently got tossed out there is that the big Mandalorian-like end of series reveal that has been teased by Elizabeth Olsen might in fact be Loki, because of the whole multiverse stuff and the time travel stuff. Harry Brady, welcome to the show. And let's see, let me finish up this TCA stuff here. Premiere dates of this, the only one that's really of interest is Chippendale Park Life, which is an upcoming series. And that is, come on, who cares about Turner and Hooch? July 23rd. They did show one of the first images. It looks very much more modern, almost Ren and Stimpy-esque animation. than classical Disney Chip and Dale stuff. Yeah, that's a question. And they did announce that they launched Star, which is the additional Disney Plus service that you can get if you're not in the United States, where you can watch all of the R-rated stuff that came with all of the things Disney bought. Still can't watch it on Disney Plus here in the U.S. You'd have to get one of those their VPNs and lie to Disney about where you're from. Not recommending that, of course, because lying is bad. We also have in the just news sort of stuff. That is, of course, the Master Chief. The news is that the Halo TV series has moved from Showtime to Paramount Plus. Those are both within the Viacom CBS family. So it's basically just a change of where it's going to land. Showtime is still producing, as it turns out. So that's just it. It'll premiere Q1 of 2022. Also an announcement that came out of the TCA. And two more. That is Adriana Palicki as Lady J from the previous G.I. Joe movies. And the news is there will be a Lady J series coming up. That is going to be on Amazon. And it's Paramount TV, E1, which is Hasbro, the entertainment one that Hasbro bought so they could have their own entertainment production division, Skydance, etc., etc. But 2013 was when this movie is from. No projection as to when this will actually land. And the last one in this sort of news roundup is sad news. Twilight Zone, the Twilight Zone reboot has been canceled. Will not be returning for season 3. Again, that was a CBS All Access, so would be a Paramount Plus series if it was coming back. But with the merger, apparently they decided it just wasn't getting enough, or maybe Jordan Peele just had too much on his plate. For whatever reason, it's not coming back. So that's the end of all of those. And now we are moving into... That is the first look at the actual... hero isn't the right term. The actual super-powered person version of Blackfire in the Titans series. The character introduced with the human, in their human form as played by Damaris Lewis, was introduced at the end of last season, but this season apparently we get that actual uniform. And Blackfire is sort of traditionally Starfire's nemesis? Antagonist? Yeah. Frenemy?
Off and on. Yeah, frenemy, because it is her sister.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have like an antagonistic relationship. Sometimes they care about each other. It's kind of a weird place.
And it also depends on what timeline you're going for, because they're more friendly in New 52.
Oh,
okay. See, I didn't know. I've avoided New 52 like the plague. So
yeah, that's not even a thing anymore.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, it's not.
It's now the old 52.
Yeah, it's right back. Retcon the retcon.
Exactly. Moving on. This is what a first look from the new upcoming My Little Pony movie. Which I missed. Where am I? There I am. There's just too many too many tabs open here for me to keep track of where I am, even though I literally have them in order. Anyway, it's coming to Netflix. It's going to be in My Little Pony new animated series as well, although they're not saying in this article whether it will be the same sort of 3D, sort of realistic, what looks like toys that are animated, which is what you get out of that particular image. But the movie apparently is coming this fall, and the animated series, it doesn't say when that will happen, but it will take place after the events in the movie. And we'll focus on Sunny Star Scout. Is that a new pony? pony experts out there, let us know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if it makes you happy, whatever, enjoy it, man. I'm not a My Little Pony person, but whatever. If you like it, go watch it, man. Check it out. Enjoy your new series.
There you go.
I agree. I am mostly my intersection with the My Little Pony universe, aside from the parody of it in Bob's Burgers. What are they called in Bob's Burgers? The ponies, the actual.
Oh, shoot. All I can think of is the name of some of them. Yeah, they do a couple of episodes that riff on that.
I can't remember either, but you know, it's a wonderful parody. Is the amazing artist Sarah Richards, who's done covers for the My Little Pony IDW comics for years, and it's just beautiful, beautiful artwork.
It does. Like it. I'm definitely gonna check it out. I love the visuals they got going on.
Yeah, I agree. I really like this idea. I like the design. I love the expressiveness of the characters.
Like I was never a diehard fan, but I'll check it out.
Cool. I might, if only because if enough people upvote it and it winds up on our full fat spoiler chat, then I'd have to.
Yeah, I'd say under normal circumstances, we could expect a wave of interesting My Little Pony cosplays in the next months right after that.
And the bronies hold it down.
Yeah.
The bronies are holding it down. Yeah, I knew there was too much stuff here. I don't have an image for this, which is a bummer because I actually grabbed the image off of something I shot years ago. But the news is, so we're just going to imagine there's a picture of Avatar Aang here. The news is that Nickelodeon is launching an actual in-house Avatar Studios to develop new intellectual properties based on Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Woo!
With the original creators involved.
Nice.
Original creators and executive producers of the original series will run Avatar Studios as co-chief creative officers, reporting directly to the president of Nickelodeon Animation. Those two guys, Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko. The first project will be a theatrical film, which will start production later on this year.
Zuko's mom.
And then there will be an animated series. Now it doesn't say for sure. They will be working on animated series and movies, but the first one that they are announcing is that there will be an upcoming feature film.
Oh, that's perfect, man. That way they can take in all the refugees from the Netflix movie that's gonna look like shit.
Yeah. I mean, it cannot be as bad as the Shyamalan live-action movie. So
I'll bet you a Kraken and Coke.
I'll bet you a French roast.
When I saw that, I saw Avatar and thought, "Oh man, what's James Cameron doing to Westworld?"
Greg, have you never seen any of the Avatar shows?
No.
Oh, you really should. Believe me, it would be right up your alley.
Yes.
Particularly The Last Airbender, the first series. It is
Somehow I never have. I'm not sure how.
It's deeper than you would ever believe it could be. Thematically, emotionally, it's shocking, frankly, that a Nickelodeon series aimed at tweens or younger could have the emotional depth that this thing has.
Absolutely.
Do I look like I'm here for emotional depth?
Well, in that case, you can just watch it for all of the hilarious jokes that they play on the blind girl Toph.
Nobody in the chat believed Greg because Greg's the first one to kiss you on the lips.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if that's necessarily emotional or sexual. So
Consensually.
Consensually.
Both.
I get a signed release form first every time.
And as far as we know, folks, all of that is a joke. And we'll leave it at that.
Yes, a joke.
It's a joke. So yeah, look forward to this new intellectual property from Avatar Studios from the original creators, who initially signed on, if you remember from way back when we did this news, to the live action thing that's happening on Netflix, and then bailed due to creative differences.
Yeah, and to be perfectly honest, like until you mentioned that they had a direct line to the president, I had some trepidation because it's like you hear how great that is, and then there's usually like a middleman or a middle manager or someone like that who has a tendency of not knowing anything that's going on, and then they misinterpret and ruin things for everyone. Having a direct line makes me feel so much better about this thing existing.
Yep, they're bosses in the studio, and they have one boss in Nickelodeon entirely, and that's the head of animation.
That's how it always should be, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, moving on to our next topic. This is a shot from the first trailer. Actually, it's a promo shot. That's not actually in the trailer for Zack Snyder's zombie heist movie that's coming out soon, Army of the Dead. It'll be on May 21st on Netflix. It's sort of a sci-fi zombie movie. Plague has been released from Area 51, turning a whole bunch of people, most of the general population in the area, into zombies. This group of military types have decided to break into casinos in Sin City and make their bank, as it were, stealing all sorts of cash while having to fight their way through zombies. So if you look at the scene there, we have Dave Bautista looking tough as hell. Garrett Dillahunt, most recently in Fear the Walking Dead, always one of my favorites. Tig Notaro, the wonderfully just unrepentantly dyke lesbian actress, is in here, and I cannot wait to see interaction between Tig Notaro and Dave Bautista. If you watch Star Trek Discovery, when they added Tig Notaro as a character, or playing a character in season 2, she is literally the thorn in the side of the chief engineer in a way that makes even the most stilted and occasionally boring episodes hilarious for at least a few minutes. So I can't wait for it. The rest of it, it's a Zack Snyder zombie movie. Meh.
I mean, is that Brie Larson in that shot, or?
I don't think so. I don't see her listed in this rundown.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm here for it. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not stoked to see this movie. Like,
also Michael J. White.
Yes.
Michael J. White in the universe.
Any of you people in the chat come to recognize that this is my kind of damn movie. I completely respect my colleagues and their highbrow mountain riding at times, but I just like dumb shit, and it's fun to enjoy dumb shit. And the Living Dead and the Dead series of movies are always fun. Some of them are introspective and talking about parallels to capitalism and yada yada yada, and some of them are just boohoo fun as hell nonsense.
I'm not going to disagree with you there. I mean, like Zombieland was absolutely hilarious, wonderful fun. I'm just, I'm worried about just an endless run of Snyderism ultra slow-mo headshots.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't indulge himself too much in his first breakout, which was the remake of Dawn of the Dead. And I'd like to see him go back to that. Sure, if you have one or two for effect, but if it's like, Sucker Punch or even Man of Steel or Batman, v Superman, where you can't have an action scene without Matrixifying it.
If people are not moving slow, then how can my drunk ass keep up?
Just a second. I'm going to back up.
Don't actually acknowledge my alcoholism.
I'm going to back up here. First off, Wendell, welcome to the show. And Luminous is Tig in the photo. I don't see her. You know what? I don't think she is. I thought I had a version of this that had her in it. Because I remember seeing her in the picture when I first read about this months and months ago, and going, wait a minute, is that Tig Notaro in a movie with like Dave Bautista and Michael J. White? But you're right. She's not in there as far as I can see.
If I didn't recognize Dave Bautista immediately, I almost thought that was the crew of Marines from Aliens.
I was just gonna say that.
Well, the red bandana headband kind of gives it away. Yeah,
that's fair. And I'll give it a little extra props because Dave Bautista is such a great actor, man.
He really is. You know, he in everything he's done.
Yeah.
Since he first, leapt onto the scene.
Yeah, he came out of WWE with some hard acting chops.
Yep.
He is.
Man with the Iron Fist. Still one of my faves.
God, garbage movie.
You and I, Byron. You and I, baby.
Yeah, you two love it.
Sometimes you just gotta enjoy cheesy kung fu, man. Like the Five Fists, I think it was called, or whatever.
Oh, come on. Legend of the Drunken Master? That's quality stuff.
100% Legend of the Drunken Master. Bautista, I think the first thing I saw him in was Riddick, which is the third Riddick movie.
Right.
And
Chronicles of Riddick?
No.
Well, the series.
No. A third in the series. Yeah, so the first one was Pitch Black, then it was Chronicles of Riddick, then it was Riddick, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And he was, as the first time I'd ever seen him as an actor, he was better than everybody else in the movie. Just so good.
Small role in Blade Runner 2049, but really effective.
Yep.
Great.
He really captured that role for such a small role. Like he was that character.
Yeah.
Did anybody? I can't think of the name of it. Doesn't really matter. It was clearly a throwaway popcorn movie. But did anybody see the film that he did like a year ago? That was like him and some little girl on some sort of
yeah.
or
You
heist
see it
or
on
something.
Amazon. It's like this. I think it was like Secret Agent or something like that.
My Spy.
Yeah.
My Spy.
Yeah.
Yep.
There we go.
Thank you.
Did anybody see that?
Nope.
Not
I
yet.
remember seeing the trailer for it and thinking, I hope this isn't like his veer into Ice Cube territory.
See, when I first heard about it, I was like, "Is this just like Vin Diesel's pacifier?" But it was actually pretty good and funny and well worked. It works very well.
Or The Rock's. What was the name of that movie?
Game Plan.
Game Plan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, every actor sooner or later, no matter how highbrow Shakespearean trained you think you are, takes roles for money. But I'm pretty sure he's not hurting after, all of the Marvel stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta pay your dues doing shitty stuff.
Yeah.
By Grabthar's Hammer.
For them.
You'll love these savings.
All right.
Moving on.
Rolling. What's up next?
This is a screenshot from the trailer that was just released for the upcoming Netflix series Shadow and Bone, which took me completely by surprise. I'd heard of the book series. It's a sort of young adult fantasy, a sort of semi-historical fantasy series. The trailer looks absolutely fantastic. I don't know anything about the actress. The character is Alina, and the actresses, do they not name the actress in this article? They don't, and I do not have the IMDb up, so I'm sorry.
That's very man of them.
The male character there is, or the actor is Ben Barnes, Jigsaw from the Punisher series, among many, many other things. Prince Caspian.
Yes, I knew he looked familiar.
Yep, that's the adult and much thinner Prince Caspian.
So her name is Jessie May Lee. Very little on her stage, a handful of small TV roles.
Yep. You can look, you can see sort of the general aesthetic of the whole design of this thing from the people in the background and their uniforms. This is very kind of very late Imperial Russia looking, and I love that design aesthetic. The concept is this: Alina is a map maker in the military who discovers that she has one of these abilities. She's one of the people that has this ability to work magic in this universe called Grisha, that they call the small sciences. And that makes her incredibly valuable to the kingdom, to the military, and sets off a whole bunch of conflict and what magical conflict and whatever. I saw the trailer and I'm here for it 100%. I love the look of this thing.
It's cool.
I have to watch it later.
I feel like I may have read the first book when it came out years ago.
That's the one that actually has the title Shadow and Bone.
Yeah. No, there was a whole bunch of stuff that came out in like the early 2010s, late 2000s that were kind of vaguely in the same look and feel and style, and I may have been confusing it with something else, but clearly going, as the Verge article points out, and I was thinking the same thing. Everybody is trying to get the next, whether it's maybe not so much Game of Thrones in this case, it's skews a little younger than that, but the Percy Jackson series, his Dark Materials, Witcher,
Mortal Instruments,
that sort of young adult franchise hit that they can really keep making season after season of. It's going to be really fascinating to see how this works out. The look is fantastic. It's really, I agree, Rodney. I've always been taken by that kind of late Imperial, call it late 1800s, 10, 15 years before the Communist Revolution, that era of Russian history.
Yep. And Byron, good call. I completely forget that Mortal Instruments was a successful adaptation.
Yep.
Mortal Instruments or Mortal Engines?
Mortal Instruments.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, no, it's a good question, or a good mix of, and I wouldn't have known if I hadn't read about it we did something months ago about it got renewed, or I can't remember. But yeah, it's another YA fantasy sort of story.
Okay. I'll take a
So
look.
Mortal Engines was a movie. It was a full cast movie wasn't Peter Jackson and his crew was involved in that.
Peter Jackson was the producer, but not the director.
Right.
It wasted so many amazing talents, including Hugo Weaving. Giant cities in a ruined Earth rolling around on treads and eating other cities. Pretty much.
Sounds like my kind of movie.
There are people who are fans.
An average weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Shadow and Bone, the series, premieres April 23rd on Netflix. So I'm going to be there.
All right.
There you go. Put it on the full fat spoiler chat menu.
We have to find out how many episodes, but absolutely. And it may actually already be on the menu. Because we did it all the way out to the end of May.
Shadow and Bone series, season 1. It looks like eight episodes.
Okay.
At least that's what IMDb knows.
So we don't have it out then because it will go past the end of May, and we've only done our schedule out to the end of May. Moving on.
It's Netflix, and it'll all be dumped on one.
Oh, that's true.
One day rather than a weekly series.
That's true. Good point. So we could put it. It might be in there. Moving on to our next topic. The first trailer for the Modoc animated series dropped. And I gotta say, I love the look. Now that we get to see a little bit more of the actual animation, I love Patton Oswalt as Modoc, of course. it wasn't quite the gutbuster that I was expecting, at least the trailer. Now maybe they're saving their best stuff, which they probably should, for the series, but I was kind of hoping to get at least more than an amused chuckle out of it, and I didn't. Other reactions?
I mean, I thought it was kind of funny, but like it definitely, I agree in that I hope they're just restraining the trailer, because I personally I am of the opinion that I'm sick and tired of seeing the whole movie in a trailer and the whole show in a trailer.
Valid point.
It's got such a ultra high budget Robot Chicken look to it.
Yep. Well, it's because it's made by they're no longer called Stupid Monkey. Anyway, the Robot Chicken Studio.
Right. I mean, but it's very much got that look and feel, and I'm a huge fan of Robot Chicken, as presumably as we all are here. Even if it's light on the jokes, I'll watch it just for that, because the aesthetic is it gets me.
Yep.
Yeah. And Patton Oswalt is always solid with that smarmy humor.
Perfect.
I'm sorry, Byron, go ahead.
The aesthetic kind of reminds me of a show on Netflix, Ryla Kuma and Karu, I believe.
Don't think I've ever heard of that.
Well, yeah, it's done in the same arts. It's done in the same stop motion ordeal. Deal and everything. So that was just one thing that stood out to me.
Yeah.
Again, like Greg, I love the aesthetic. Didn't get a whole lot of laughs from watching it, but I'm definitely here for anything that Patton Oswalt does.
Yep.
I mean, it's hard to imagine that this won't be bloody hysterical. Patton Oswalt, I'll show up for just about anything he does, but it's also got Melissa Fumero, Wendy McClendon-Covey, Ben Schwartz, Beck Bennett, John Daly. It's kind of a who's who of fantastic comedic actors.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. We only have to wait until May 21st. It'll be on Hulu.
I already paid for that.
Which means that it will be weekly streamed, as opposed to binge dumped like a Netflix.
Yep.
But I'm looking forward to it. Just like Lewis said, hopefully they're holding back all the funny stuff, and I'll watch Patton Oswalt read a phone book if we had a phone book anymore. All right, moving on. I realize we still have a lot of stuff to go here. Trailer. Speaking of trailers, the trailer for the upcoming Pixar movie Luca dropped, and I have to admit I had no idea until I watched this trailer that this is essentially a fantasy movie. I kind of thought it was going to be sort of a slice of life coming of age story of kids in Italy, and it ain't. I mean, it is, but there's a deeply strong fantasy element to this, and I love it. I like the animation style. It looks really cool, and now that I know that's there, it's grabbed me a lot more than it did before.
Yeah, agreed.
Same. It looks cool. It's got a cool vibe to it. It's the folks that are behind it. I mean, it's a lot of the typical who's who of Pixar. Looks like it's a lot of elements of kind of your coming of age Pixar story, but yeah, it looks fantastic, and the fantasy elements were definitely caught me off guard.
So sometime in June is the release date. As this article points out, it's not clear whether it will be in theaters and on Disney Plus or just theaters. Disney has not been particularly clear about which movies it plans to do that to. Yeah.
And it's worth saying, like, you have to watch the trailer. It's not worth trying to describe it because it's very hard to describe.
Yeah.
But the gimmick, if you will, is very entertaining.
Yes.
I guess it's not, by our standards, it's not a spoiler if it's in the trailer. That's always the kind of the standard that we use, but we won't spoil the trailer.
Yeah, because it's worth seeing it, and also seeing how it's replete with all kinds of possible, really quick and casual potential disasters because of it, and it's a lot of fun. Moving on to our next trailer that dropped, teaser more than trailer, and we actually kind of got two teasers. We got one that was sort of a behind-the-scenes teaser, and one that was just a voiceover teaser that didn't show anything. But these are three of the primary characters from the upcoming series. Jupiter's Legacy.
Oh,
I was going to say Jupiter Ascending. It's like, God damn it, that's not it. It's that other awful movie. Jupiter's Legacy. It is the first in the Mark Millar super mega deal with Netflix.
The Millarverse. The
Millarverse. Well, yeah, except that. So in this deal, what he did is he cut a deal where he will be making original IP that will also go into comic book form at the same time as the original IP starts production. So the comic books have been out long enough that there's a few collections, a few trade paperbacks, but this was one of those in his deal where he is going to be creating this stuff that is going to be simultaneously comic book stuff and eventually Netflix series. The characters that we're looking at here are the sort of parents. So the general concept of this is there are superheroes who got their superpowers back in the 1930s, and they're dealing with the fact that their adult children are not quite or nearly as heroic as they are. Josh Duhamel is the one in the middle. Leslie Bibb, the reporter from the first two Iron Man movies, is the lady, and I don't know anything really about the actor who plays the one on the right. So Duhamel's character is called the Utopian. He's the leader of the team known as the Union. His kids, Brandon and Chloe, are the younger generation, and they're sort of the main characters, the main younger characters. Ben Daniels, who they credit as being from The Exorcist, no idea what he was in The Exorcist, is the older one, the superhero named Brainwave, and he is Utopian's older brother. And Leslie Bibb's character, Lady Liberty, is Utopian's wife.
He was. I had to look it up because I didn't recognize him either. He was General Merrick in Rogue One.
Oh, all right.
I knew
Cool.
He was vaguely familiar.
Yeah. Seems like an interesting series. It's like kind of like mashing up The Boys and Sky High.
And Watchmen, because the superheroes that came up in the 1930s. Yeah, no, I agree. It's also supposed to be a little bit more like a Boys or Watchmen take. It's also remarkably similar in the idea of multi-generation superhero families to Invincible.
Yes.
I was going to mention that. From the same mind, right?
No, Robert Kirkman did Invincible.
Oh, okay.
And it draws from the reality of we never live up to the expectations that our parents set for us.
And actually, both of those series, that's at the core.
Superpower failure.
That's why I have zero expectations for anyone ever.
That's actually a good way to take it.
Yeah.
I had one expectation that I'd lose my hair, and here we are.
Oh, I skipped over one topic, so we'll jump back one. But for you guys out in the audience, this is our next topic.
This is the moneymaker.
This is the moneymaker.
Literally.
Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. The next game in the Five Nights at Freddy's series has dropped its trailer. It will be out on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Think of that, folks. Five Nights at Freddy's is getting a PS5 super high resolution version. The game takes place in the Mega Pizzaplex, which is apparently enormous as compared to the original playing grounds of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Parlor. I gotta say, the trailer looked like an interesting game, but way less scary than the previous Freddy's games, in my mind.
I disagree with you there just a little bit, just only because it's shifting concepts a bit in terms of like the gameplay, whereupon like the original games were a mixture of jump scare and kind of creepy general all around creepiness. This new game 100% reminds me of if you were playing like Outlast and Outlast 2, where you constantly have to escape something nightmarish, and it's going to come at you at different locations, and it's introducing a few aspects that the original games never had. Like there looks to be like a stronger narrative focus. There's an additional security guard in there somewhere. Yep. The movement, there's probably a way to combat them a little bit, like inadvertently using the area around you. You're not just like locked to a desk.
Right. Yeah, no, I get that. It is a little bit more like Alien Isolation, and or Outlast, than the previous games. That's a good point.
Yeah. And if you ever played those games and you hid in a locker and the thing found you and you shit your pants real fucking fast.
It ends. The trailer ends with that horrific robotic claw that looks way scarier than any of the other Freddy's characters, who are already really creepy as hell. So yeah, that gave me the sort of Alien Isolation vibe, that they're teasing there's something much more horrific as opposed to frightening and creepy that's out there. So yeah, okay, all right, I can see that. I got nothing in this thing about an exact time, except it is this year that the game will be coming out. So all you people who want to get scared,
Gonna be on VR.
Oh God, no! Oh please,
Bro,
will it be
in VR? Because I'm a big old puss.
It doesn't say VR, and I like having a functioning heart. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm getting too old for that.
Yeah, that you young whippersnappers can take that one on. Anyway, moving on to our next topic. I'm still come on, there we go. All right. That is the wonderful cosplayer Cares a Lot Cosplay, or Kuzako on Instagram, as Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII. And the news is that Final Fantasy VII Remake will get a PS5 version, and along with that, there will be a DLC that will add a whole storyline where Yuffie is the main character. And I think that is probably huge news for Final Fantasy fans. I saw a ton of activity around that in my social media when it popped up. Never played a single game. So, other than taking photos of cosplayers, like Carolyn, lame.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I know everybody says this, and it's true. They're milking this remake hard.
Oh yeah.
They totally are.
But also, if you are a consummate fan of Final Fantasy VII, like I am, then you would notice that this particular DLC is interconnecting with a lot of games that either we didn't get in the United States and or we got and sucked, Dirge of Cerberus. And this actually references all of that. If you look at the trailer, Dirge of Cerberus, one of the bosses from Dirge of Cerberus, Before Crisis, if I recall correctly.
4.
Yeah. Well, that's the PSP game that we got, but there's a game called Before Crisis that actually deals with the Turks trying to stop Avalanche before everything in motion in Final Fantasy VII. See what kind of nonsense I've known over the years, but like, answer something because like Twitter people drive me fucking crazy with this shit. Yuffie has the thing on her arm because she has the giant shuriken, and she crosses her arm over this way. So you want to protect that arm when you throw your weapon, so it doesn't peel the skin off of your damn arm. It's not just there for aesthetic.
There you go.
I wanted to point out in conjunction with this announcement, there's supposed to be like another Final Fantasy VII remake coming out for iPhone and Android. That's more true to the turn-based system of the original game.
Okay.
Yeah, the name eludes me, but it's crazy how much they're milking this cash cow dry.
I can see that.
To be honest, I thought there was I don't know for certain because I haven't played it yet, but if I recall, there was something about you can switch between like the combat system that they have, and go traditional turn-based, depending. I guess I think you could switch between the two or something like that.
Yeah, I haven't played it either. That would be interesting. I know that there are people who are dedicated to the concept of turn-based. I personally think if you've gone to a more action combat system, turn-based just leaves me cold.
Yeah. I think the combat system in the game is pretty good as it is now because
it's called Ever Crisis.
Because of the narrative focus of the combat, which assists the gameplay.
Yeah.
So
Byron, you were saying the mobile version was called Ever Crisis?
Yes.
Okay. So look forward to this, folks. If you're fans of this remake and you want to see that story continue, if you're fans of Yuffie, thank you for correcting my pronunciation. It's just like, Luffy or Luffy. The Japanese always get you. Moving on to our penultimate story. So I needed a Superman image. Superman and Lois, the new CW series, which, as an aside, this dropped literally just before we went on. CW already renewed this for season 2. Gave it a second season order 2 episodes in. So, it's apparently, from all the numbers I've been reading, it's a huge hit for them. But the news is one of the biggest emotional roller coasters for me in this past week was Superman Reboot in the works at Warner Brothers. Ta-Nehisi Coates writing. Yes! J.J. Abrams producing. Like that.
Well, he's not directing.
Yes, he is not directing as far as we know. So, huge ups for that.
I'm going to temper my expectations purely because can we honestly get Clark Kent right first before we work on Superman?
No.
Well, I guess it would depend on in each movie. The Clark Kent is going to be different. So, what do you?
Well, we don't. In a lot of the more recent movies, they don't really flesh out anything about Clark Kent. It's just more of an afterthought as opposed to being the real persona of Superman. And conversely, it kind of does a slight, in my opinion, a slight disservice to Superman because you focus so much on Superman being super, you don't focus on any of the man part.
Yeah.
Which sucks because you can't have a separate. It's together. It's always together. And if you're gonna do Superman, enough with the like trying to juice everybody up around him, like give him a villain that he can fight that don't gotta be Darkseid. You can do that because there's a lot of brainy villains that like Lex Luthor in the cartoon was like the best damn villain because he literally couldn't beat the shit out of Superman, but he can outthink him every step of the way.
Yeah.
I've been
saying that, on multiple shows like that. This is purely opinion, but I find Darkseid, I find Thanos, I find villains of that scope incredibly boring. They're so outside human experience that it's there's no suspension of disbelief possible because there's no reality to start from. You have to have some belief to be able to get to that suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
So I've always found those incredibly boring, but you're absolutely right. Especially in the animated series, what made Luthor. Sorry, I just pulled a Ned Beatty.
Yes.
Hey,
Mr. Luthor.
Mr. Luthor. What made him a compelling villain was that he was smart, not that he was a steroid-addled musclehead.
Right.
He wasn't Bane.
I wanted to add to that with bringing up Mr. Mxyzptlk, because it was like he was like one of the rare moments where Superman couldn't punch his way out of the
That's a
situation.
good point, man. Good point. Yeah, because he couldn't defeat him in any way except getting him to say his name backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And
Because he was like literally infinitely more powerful than Superman.
Yeah. And I will say, what of the old Superman movies, the one thing I enjoyed about Superman, even as a kid, is like my man wasn't out there trying to beat up every damn superhero, supervillain that he saw. He was actually doing things like stopping catastrophes and like stuff. And like I want to see that because again, it goes back to the Clark Kent and the man part of Superman, in that part of the trouble is you can never relate to Superman in a movie. In the later half movies, because he's just a god. He's a literal god.
Yep.
There's no relating to that.
Yep.
But when you make him like more humanitarian, it
Which is
works.
something the most recent anime movie got right.
Yeah.
Man of Tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a radically different era. Superhero movies in general have moved light years forward since then. But one of the things that personally, and I'm going to out myself as the old fart that I am here, that the Christopher Reeves Superman movie was so good was that it was, at its core, it was a real estate caper. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't a being from beyond space-time who could snap their fingers and blow up the universe. It was a dude trying to make money by putting a nuclear bomb in a freaking crater, or not a crater, a fissure.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, and the whole drama with Lois Lane, it was cheesy, it was corny as hell, to be sure, but to your point, it completely humanized Superman. He wasn't just a god flying around in a cape.
Yep.
As we all remember, the flying backwards really fast around the world to make
Yeah.
her go backwards so she didn't die bit. That gets science a little off kilter, but
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting we're going back there, especially not with Henry Cavill, because he did not have Christopher Reeve's range.
And they're doing, this is called a reboot, which implies that Cavill will not be Superman.
Yeah. I just wish Kevin Spacey didn't go off the deep end, because he was a pretty good Lex Luthor.
Yeah, that's true.
In a lot of ways, I wish that he hadn't gone off the deep end, because I still think he's an amazing actor. I'm just not ever going to watch anything that he's done since I discovered that. Brodog, have a nice day as well. And since I didn't see your chat anywhere before, welcome to the show and goodbye. This, to your point, Lewis, about the idea of the recent interpretations of Superman, 100%. And Zack Snyder has said this. His movies are about gods fighting, including Superman. And even Man of Steel ultimately wasn't about Clark Kent becoming Superman, even though that was supposedly the plot through line. It was about a god realizing his power and having to fight other gods.
I don't even get started on that.
Yeah. But, and again, I haven't seen it yet, but from everything I've read, and that's certainly the trailer of that CW Superman and Lois, this is a Clark Kent story. Or it's, the married Kents and their kids story. And so I would suggest you check it out. I've heard...
Yep. One last thing to add to that. Just the way, talking about Zack Snyder's portrayal of Superman, it very much reminded me of David Carradine's discussion of Superman in Kill Bill, where it's like Superman is who he is, and Clark Kent is just his costume.
Well, yeah, which is actually kind of the statement that ultimately Bruce Wayne / Batman makes at the end of the original Batman Begins. Or what actually she tells him that he's really Batman, and Bruce Wayne is now just the costume he puts on. All right. Speaking of superheroes, we're on to our last topic. This broke in one of the most wonderful and hilarious social media campaigns out there.
Goddamn cheeky.
Cheeky as hell. So Spider-Man 3 is ultimately called Spider-Man No Way Home, not Spider-Man Homewrecker, Spider-Man Home Slice, which was personally my favorite, and Spider-Man Phone Home. That's right. That was the Tom Holland one.
Yes, that was my favorite. My personal favorite.
That was pretty good, but I mean, Home Slice is, to me, just hilarious. Anyway, this is the logo. This is it. Spider-Man No Way Home. That certainly implies a couple of things. It implies that a lot of the rumors might be true about multiversal other Spider-Men? Spider-Men. Yes, like Attorneys General. Exactly. Spider-Man.
Bad Greg.
No, he might be right. So, but
I think it would be Spider-Man's.
Spider-Man's.
Yes.
Spider-Man. We don't talk about Spider-Man.
We can quibble on that later.
Exactly. We know that Electro, Jamie Foxx's Electro, is going to be in it. We know that Alfred Molina's Doc Ock. So from two other completely different Spider-Man franchises, we've got villains. And the rumors are, of course, that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will be reprising their Spider-Man characters from those.
Tom just missed it.
What's that?
Yes, Tom Holland just missed the idea of them being in it, but we all know how that worked out with Marvel.
Yeah, and anytime anybody in Marvel, other than a studio executive, says, something isn't true, just don't trust it. Tatiana Maslany said she was not going to be She-Hulk.
And I just want to say this real super fast, but can we just give credit to the fact that Tom Holland is well known for accidentally giving spoilers away, and flipping it as a PR move is amazing. It's just so, instead of berating the poor kid for being excited about being Spider-Man, they just embraced it and were like, all right, let's feed this kid dumb shit that he's gonna say all the time. It's amazing.
I'm sure there are marketing awards out there that are like the Emmys or whatever. Whoever designed this campaign needs that award. It was
give him a house, give him something.
Exactly. It was genius. But the huge implication to me in this title is the fact that it's called No Way Home at the third movie, which is the last contracted lead role of Tom Holland as Spider-Man, as far as we know. There's been no reports or rumors even that he's signed another contract. So as far as we know, Tom Holland as Spider-Man is done at the end of this movie. Which means either he has to sign a Robert Downey Jr.-like contract with Sony or Marvel, or Sony and Marvel, in which he gets to appear in limited roles in other things within his universe, like in the Venom, upcoming movie. What's it? Venom something Carnage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name, but yes, you're right. It's Maximum Carnage.
Maximum Carnage. Yeah, something like that. Or if there's a sequel to Morbius, or if he's even in Morbius, or whatever the next sort of in the Spider-Universe thing is for Sony, and or maybe same sort of things with the MCU.
Yeah.
Or he's gone, and the next Spider-Man will be Miles Morales.
I'd be okay with that.
I'm gonna throw out the guess that it's gonna be a little bit of A and B. Like we are gonna get Miles Morales, but Tom Holland is gonna his contract is probably gonna be renewed once the new movie comes out. Like somewhere in the middle, we're gonna get like an announcement that he's on for X amount of more movies, and then he's gonna have like the limited contract as well,
Yeah.
with appearances and other stuff. Because you don't, if the theory is true based on just the title, that we can just guess based on the title, if it is a multiverse Spider-Man, you can literally insert this kid at any time now and bring other Spider-Mans and open up movies to other movies, and he could become the Wolverine of the Spider-Man universe, where it's like hey, we got this new character that's like a C-list hero that we're gonna try to like fix up to make into a movie. Also, Tom Holland's in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why would you give up this cash cow unless Holland really wants to be done?
Yeah, yeah. And he doesn't seem like it. This kid loves the role. Like,
Yep.
I never get over the whole like him being on set and like I think it was Chris Helmsworth or whatever was just like do a backflip, just messing with him, and he just like did it like right there and impressed everybody right off the rip because he was so excited to be Spider-Man.
So to your point about the multiverses and having him come in and out, I got to give credit to who it was, and I can't remember which YouTube channel, whether it was Screen Rant or Nerdist, but they had a speculation about the concept of Nexus Beings. The idea that, you know, Wanda in WandaVision in the comics is a Nexus being, which means she exists as the same person in all the multiverses. And has the ability to connect all the multiverses because of that. There's apparently in comic book canon an Earth 8 whatever or whatever the number is Spider-Man that is a Nexus being, and that version of that human, whether he is Spider-Man in his particular other universe or not, is a Nexus being and is the same person throughout all of the universes.
Yeah, that would make. I don't recall that, but I don't see like why it would be wrong because they had the whole Spider Web Warriors thing where they do the Nexus thing. So, and they had like that one spider person with the mechanical legs who existed all the time. I don't remember their name or whatever.
Yeah,
but yeah, that sounds about right to me.
So,
I was just thinking Captain Universe for a second, which is probably not the same thing, but
Captain Universe.
There is one character. Well, Captain Universe is a cosmic power that inhabits people and turns them into Captain Universe. But there is one character in Fantastic Four story, Molecule Man. He exists throughout every time a reality is created. There's always a Molecule Man, and all the Molecule Mans know of every other Molecule Man, and that's how War Worlds mega arc was a thing that he saved. But anyways, I don't want to go too far into it, but that very much could be the same concept, you know. And it'd be actually really cool if they brought Molecule Man into Spider-Man, because Spider-Man has fought Molecule Man, and then you would bring Fantastic Four to that. I'm going off the rails.
No, I get it. I'm just like, Greg, am I the only one who's getting They Might Be Giants vibes every time he says that?
A little bit.
A little bit. Particle Man. So I that's interesting. I don't know that they can have another Wanda level reality altering being. That's one of the things about Molecule Man is they built him up. His powers up to the point where by the time the lead up to all of the War World stuff happened, he literally is a Franklin Richards type reality bending, changing, altering, almost infinite power super being. And you know, you put too many of those in in the MCU, and you're going to get what Greg was describing about the whole Superman Darkseid Thanos,
Yeah.
It's a bunch of universe altering people. They're already coming close to that with the Eternals.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to be a villain. Like the Beyonder is
right.
Not at the moment. We don't know if he's a villain, but it's implied that he's just not a villain. So he could just be there to just like pop in and be like, "What's up, dog?
I mean,
let me do some multiverse stuff."
Marvel has been flipping it for quite a bit recently.
That's true, and it'll be interesting to see how they deal with Kang, who we know is coming. Um, whether he's going to be a complete villain or if he's going to be a much more complicated character like he is in the comics. But yeah, so Spider-Man: No Way Home is the title, and that just leads to boatloads and boatloads of speculation like we just did here. I can't wait to find out how that plays out. Almost as much as I can't wait to find out what happens to WandaVision in 3 days. But that's my jam right now. And by the way, that it was said that was going to be a 6-hour series, and it's only run for 4 hours. So
isn't the yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think the last episode's supposed to be an hour. I'm not sure. People
4.5 hours. So it's 7 30-minute episodes.
Yeah,
but
the last one's supposed to be like 50 or something like that.
Honestly, if it's gonna make 6 hours, it's gonna be a 90-minute episode.
I'm all right with that. I got the day off.
I'm okay with that too, which has nothing to do with this. And folks, we've run way long. Got to wrap this sucker up. I'll let anybody who has one. Anybody have a could we please or could we not, and could we please make it very quick if you do?
Could we please just wrap up because I got to pee all this liquor out.
Your words to my ears, if not God's. Patreon.com/nerdcaliber, folks, if you want to support us. Help us get to cons when cons come back. Please, folks, stay safe. Wear your mask. Double it up. Don't be like Texas. Social distance. And from all of us here at Nerd Caliber, we'll see you Thursday night. If you're tuning in, that will be the Netflix movie Outside the Wire on Full Fat Spoiler Chat. Anthony Mackie as an android. Looking forward to it.
Just finished watching that.
Exactly. And that's it, folks. Thank you all. Stay safe.